patients with septic shock? Well, basically because there is some inducible factors that can lead to myocardial depression and septic shock, and this may have some consequences. This myocardial depression sounds to be reversible, and when you look at the timing, you can see that indeed within 2-3 days, often you do not need to give inotropic agents, so we would like to have a short-term agent, and the dobutamine is a very good short-term agent in these conditions. The most important slide when you listen to my talk is probably this one, done by Antoine Baron a couple of years ago, looking at not only cardiac index, but also at ejection fraction. And it's important here to realize that yes, we have a relatively good correlation between the impairment in contractility, more or less assessed by the ejection fraction, and the impairment in the output, the cardiac index. However, we have very important subtypes there. Well, the first one here, which is here is this patient with a low ejection fraction, but nevertheless a preserved cardiac output. These patients should never receive the dobutamine. There's no reason when the flow is already high, cardiac index on the average of 4, to try to have further increase in cardiac output. It will not change anything to these patients. The same is true here. We have this subset of patients with a very low cardiac index, 2 liters, 1.8 liters of cardiac index. But you can see that ejection fraction contractility is very high, hypercontractile. Do not give inotropic stimulation to these patients. So if you want to go for a little bit of dobutamine, please select these patients here, where you have indeed an impairment in the cardiac output that is related or associated with the impairment in contractility. So this may have some implications, because indeed in patients with septic shock, ejection fraction itself is not associated with a poor outcome. However, the low stroke volume is associated with a poor outcome. And so this may be the reason why we may, for these patients, try to improve the situation. The dobutamine is effective, and this is what we tried quite a long time ago and published, yes, quite a long time ago, that indeed the dobutamine may improve the cardiac index in these patients. Again, a low dose of dobutamine was effective in these conditions, and that in turn, this seems to be due to an improvement in stroke volume. We have to be cautious. When we analyze the response to dobutamine, we have to be cautious, because this is a trial from the late Johan Grubel group, and when they looked at the improvement in hemodynamics associated with dobutamine. And obviously there were two types of patients. Some patients indeed increase the dobutamine by an increase in stroke volume, but some patients also fail to increase their stroke volume. And importantly, the only reason for having this increase in stroke in cardiac output without increasing stroke volume was a tachycardia. So it's probably not the best patient to continue the dobutamine. So if you give the dobutamine, you have to test the system, see the response. Do not give the dobutamine when the response is not positive. And you can see, oh, very nice. Jean-Louis, what did you do for this? So indeed you can see that the variability in response is quite important, and it's probably not needed to continue the dobutamine when the response is minimal. So if you select to go for giving the dobutamine in some patients, please assess the response to the agent. Otherwise, you will have the side effects and not the beneficial one. So, inotropic support, systemic effects on one hand, but also do not neglect the potential effects on some other aspects, and especially regional perfusion. So this was the topic of many trials 15, 20 years ago. And this is just one of these in healthy volunteers, showing that indeed the beta stimulation is associated with an improvement in splanchnic blood flow in volunteers, while the alpha effect is associated with an impairment in the splanchnic perfusion. And this has been shown again and again, repeatedly. Here you can see that isoprenaline as a beta effect is improving here in the squares the liver perfusion as well as the perfusion to the mucosa of these animals. And here also you can see that there is not only an improvement in the mesocyclic perfusion, but also an improvement in the total delivery. Importantly, there is no improvement in the renal perfusion nor in muscular perfusion in these animals. For the splanchnic area, it's not only in animals that you can find it, you have also this in humans, and in patients with septic shock we demonstrated that indeed you can have an improvement in the liver perfusion, splanchnic perfusion, and this is already observed at 5 micrograms. You don't need to go to higher doses to observe it. Is associated with an improvement in the consumption or the clearance of lactate, if you prefer, and also an improvement in the hepatic vein oxygen saturation. Importantly, it seems not to be very selective, because if you look at the proportionality between the splanchnic perfusion and the cardiac index, obviously it seems to be relatively variable, with some patients with better perfusion in splanchnic area than others, but when it is better, it is improving along the changes in cardiac output in both conditions. And others have found also that it improves the gastric mucosal perfusion and thus decreases the mucosal PCO2. There are also some effects on the microcirculation, and experimental conditions have shown that indeed the butamine improves the ileal perfusion as well as the liver perfusion in these conditions. Interestingly, it is not only improving the liver perfusion, as you can see here, but also improving the redox state of the liver cells, as well as in decreasing the liver cell death in this experimental model of septic shock. And it may also improve survival of these, increase the duration of survival of these animals in septic shock. So, what about patients with septic shock for the microcirculation? We also demonstrated that there is some effect of butamine here on similar microcirculation, but you can see also that it's quite variable, meaning that some patients here, and I will do like J results using my hands because this is not very well. So we have some patients here with a major increase in the microcirculation, while some other patients have a minimal change here in this microcirculation. And some other trials have also found that indeed there is a variable effect there, with some patients having some improvement, some not. As you can see here below, you can see that some patients improve in microcirculation, some have no improvement in the microcirculation. And interestingly, we relate the changes in microcirculation, obviously not to the changes in cardiac index, because indeed you cannot predict it looking at the changes in cardiac index, nor in blood pressure, admittedly. And importantly, the changes in microvascular perfusion were associated with decreases in lactate level, while there was no relationship between changes in cardiac index and the changes in lactate level in these patients. So what about the butamine in randomized clinical trials? Well, it's quite interesting that indeed we have these data showing that, yes, unfortunately, the butamine seems to be bad for you. So it should be the end of the butamine. Yeah, some people advocate for this. But maybe, yes, I can still claim that I would like to use a little bit of the butamine, because indeed, we need to look cautiously at these data and look at the paper, not only at the abstract once again. And you can see that in the treatment group, the butamine, 5 to 200 microgram per kilogram per minute. 200 microgram per kilogram per minute. Wow. Were administered to increase cardiac index and oxygen delivery until these three goals have been achieved simultaneously. So it was not only oxygen delivery, it was also increasing oxygen consumption that was aimed in that trial. And indeed, when you look at the doses here, you can see that a very important number of patients were given the butamine, and that this is leading to a very, very high problems there. 17 patients in a very small trial received 5 microgram or more of the butamine at some time during the trial. Can you imagine this? No. Quite interesting. Yes. So we spoke about the high dose that can be detrimental, and this was done, let's say, on purpose due to heat. So in other trials, you can see that indeed, when the dobutamine is used more frequently than in other groups, there could be sometimes an improvement in outcome, or in some other conditions, no effect on outcome, even though indeed the dobutamine is used much more frequently in these conditions. So probably giving the dobutamine may not be always associated with an improvement in outcome, as long as we use a small dose. But we have no data here that it is associated with improved outcome. We have to admit this by definition. So probably in some conditions we still may consider to give the dobutamine, not in all patients probably. And so when we consider that we should give the dobutamine is in patients with impaired cardiac output, related to impaired contractility, and associated with an impaired tissue perfusion. If these three conditions are not associated, please do not give the dobutamine. When you give the dobutamine, give it at a low dose and assess the response to this drug. With this, I thank you for your attention.